go. What's up, guys? I know this is a little bit of an unflattering angle, right? Anyways, okay. So, just my general opinion on the current state of Apex. Arena's ranked really. It's something I see a lot is people. You gotta understand here too. I'm talking from and I don't mean this with an ego or anything, or or saying that if you're a lower rank, your opinion's wrong, because it's definitely not. You know what I mean? Your opinion is, your opinion, right? There's no real wrong or right opinion. It's just an opinion. Okay. So let's start it off by that first, right? There's no real wrong or right opinion. I don't feel that way, but definitely my thoughts on it are they're okay. So let me just jump into what I mean. Give you a little context, so that way it's not you're just what are you talking about, dude? You're just ranting a lot. You know what I mean? It's a lot. You're just ranting. I don't know what you mean. So. Anyways. A little hard to talk about it. So, I think it's funny when, you're playing at a high level of gameplay. It takes a high level of concentration. I'm talking about, Masters, Predator gameplay here. Even high end of Diamond 2, Diamond 1. You know what I mean? You're playing with high skill players. You're playing with people that, put a lot of time into the game, usually are very invested in the game. I hate to say the word ego because, I feel like people throw that around. They throw the word around. They give it a negative connotation. They give it a negative vibe. And everyone has an ego. Ego literally means your personality. So when people say, "Oh, I don't have an ego," they're trying to say "Oh, I'm not a bad guy," but really what that means is, "Oh, I'm an empty shell and I don't have any personality," is what that would really mean. But I feel like people use ego in the word "Oh, the negative aspects of someone," but everyone but to continue on that, everyone has negative aspects of themselves. I feel like when people say, "Oh, I'm not toxic," "Oh, I'm not negative," they're lying, because you do. You might just be able to hide it better. You might be able to, say it in your head, but not tell people it, and that's good. I feel like in some cases that's good. If you're around sensitive people, or if you're trying to portray yourself a certain way to people or an audience and they like that, that's good. But I also feel like that's bad, because then if you don't ever tell someone what makes you mad. I'm sorry, there's an airplane. There's a helicopter going by right now. Which, give me a second. Sorry for the quality on the shit too. I know it's not really that good, but hopefully it gets the point I want across. But yeah, I feel like people are too PC. You know what I mean? To the point where they're either so afraid to say anything that they just leave their mic on mute and they don't say anything. And if you're overwhelmingly nice or positive or PC too, then they'll engage with you, which leads to a bad state for the game, because then you're having half the people who believe that way, and which is the main thing, what I feel like is agenda being pushed. They won't even talk to the guy that'll say that'll cuss, or will get mad and say, "Why did you push that when you took damage?" You know what I mean? Or why did you make that play, and you didn't do good? And that turns those people off from even interacting. But what that does is that breaks down the communication in the game, and what that does is it leaves a very important part of the game not being addressed and being non-existent. And what I mean by that is, imagine, let's say that communication is a skill in the game you need to win, right? Just like tracking is, just like positioning is, just like aim or recoil control, or shooting. You know what I mean? in my opinion, communication is just as important as all those things I just said. And and a game, by either its developers or either the community, pushing this agenda of, people are toxic, or they're angry, or they're not nice to my specifications, to my personal whatever, or they're trying to fit into what other people think is, appropriate, or what they deem, sufficient enough to where they'll communicate with you. What that ends up doing is that ends up lowering the quality of the match on both people's end. You know what I mean? And usually what happens is the person that's vocal about it, who's saying you're not doing good, you're making bad plays, you did this wrong or that, they'll be even more vocal about it on their end, because you're missing this key aspect. You're like bringing the game down by not communicating. And then those other people will go and take that as an example or evidence of why people are toxic, and why they don't communicate in the game, and why they don't talk to those players, and all that other stuff. And that further reinforces in their head that what they're doing is right, and that the people that are vocal about it or do cuss when they get frustrated, that those people are wrong and they're bad. And they're the reason why, excuse me, just had dinner. And they're the reason why that the match isn't going well, basically. And that's not true. If you're not talking to someone in a game where communication is just as vital as the things I mentioned: positioning, tracking, shooting, game position, game sense, game awareness, then that's not on them. That's on you for not talking with them, because you can't adapt to their personality or their play style. Now, are they right? I don't know. I'm not in the game with you. I don't know what you did. I don't know what they're saying you did. I don't know what would be the correct play. I don't know that. I'm not there. But what I'm saying is, if you choose to have this mentality of, I'm not going to communicate at all, or I'm going to stay in party chat, or I'm going to turn my mic on but mute it so I can't say anything, and then get mad at people when they tell me to talk, or they tell me they're dragging the team down because they're not communicating, and then to use that as evidence to say, that's why I don't do that. All you're doing is reinforcing this bad habit in your mind, and then dragging them down, and then getting mad at them for something you're doing that's inhibiting the whole squad. If that makes sense. If you guys are following with me here, that, and to give you an example of what I mean, because I said, I wasn't there in whatever situation you guys might be thinking, right? Because you might be thinking, well, a lot. I hit someone for 100 damage, and then I pulled back, and then the whole team aped me. But the guy that was being mean to me was like 20, 50 feet away, not even able to get a shot on him, not in cover, doing nothing when he's healed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, in that case, obviously that guy's wrong, whatever, understand it. But to give you an example, think about let's say, let me get an example here. Think about when you and your teammate are both shooting someone, right? And you're a little bit farther ahead, okay? A little bit farther ahead. You're both shooting at the same person, right? And you see someone go to your left. Go to your left out of view. Go to your left out of view. And you have your mic turned off. And you don't ping either. And then your teammate gets lasered by that guy that flanked. And you had the opportunity to tell them, and you didn't. And if that person proceeds to get mad at you, or to say something to you about that, and then you take that as evidence of why you don't like toxic players, or why you don't turn your mic on, that's kind of delusion. Not delusional, but that's kind of ignorant. That's kind of like, Like you yourself were the reason why your team lost because you had your mic off and you weren't communicating. You know, and in a game like Apex, you can mute people so where you don't hear them, but they can still hear you. That's what the mute button does. It mutes them, but it doesn't mute yourself. You know, that's what your mic does. You mute your mic or you mute your mic on your mic or you can mute it in game yourself. But when you mute other people, they can still hear you. So if someone's talking a certain way that you don't like and you still want to win though, and you're willing to do whatever you can to win, just go ahead and mute them. So that way you can't hear that so it doesn't hurt you. But that way you could at least make calls and give out information that's vital to winning the game. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you're a bad person for not wanting to hear people talk smack. Again, that's not what I'm saying at all. Because I understand that, especially if, maybe you're on the sensitive side, or maybe like you get annoyed by that even. Like, you don't even have to say sensitive, because I know people will get mad at me for saying just that. But like, maybe you're annoyed easily. Maybe it breaks your concentration. Maybe you yourself will get angry and you don't want to get angry. You don't want to be that guy, right? What you can do is you can just mute them. So that way, at least you're working towards that goal, and then you're giving out information, and you're not neglecting a vital aspect of the game, a vital component of the game, a key component to winning the match, right? Whether it's around in arenas or whether it's, the fucking game in BR, a little bit different, but I feel like personally that we might not get along, right? Everyone might not get along, right? But there's things you can do to put yourself at an advantage to where you can still win the game and you can not neglect that key aspect, right? Now that that's out of the way, because I felt like that was really important, right? That's the important part. That's the tip right there. So that's the rank tip. You can apply that to BR. You can apply that to arenas. You can apply that to anything. You know what I mean? Any game you play, really, where it's a team-based game. Maybe not the mute part, because I don't know if in other games that it mutes them, but you can still talk and they can still hear you. But, maybe you say what you have to say and then you mute them again. You know what I mean? Or maybe you turn your volume up and you say what you have to say and you mute them. Yeah, it's going to put you at a disadvantage. Yeah, it would be nicer if everyone got along, but, and I'm not even, and for the guys that do say stuff, I'm going to say right now, I'm not saying that you're automatically evil guy, or that, just because you tell people something, you're a bad guy. Okay. Not saying that. I cuss when I play the game. I get angry. I'll call people out. I'll be a little bit of a D-bag. Okay. I'll be the first to admit it. Dude, I'm a little rough. Some people don't like it. Some people don't agree with it, but usually I don't do it without feeling like it's, not earned. What am I thinking here? Not earned, but if it's an appropriate response, how I, express myself, if I feel like it's appropriate, if I feel like it's deserved, I'll call you out and I'll be like, dude, what you're doing is not working. And depending on if it's 5, 6, 7, 8 hours into a game, I might say that in a little bit less than nice way, right? I'll be the first to say it. I might say it in a little bit of a mean way, okay? You know what I mean? Especially if I'm frustrated, I'm playing a long time. But what I'm saying is that doesn't make you a bad guy. I'm just saying that, myself included, if you can tone down the aggressiveness a little bit, then those people that get annoyed easily, or that have that mentality where, oh, I don't like to talk to toxic people, then you can also get that little teamwork going a little better, and that'll help you win. You know what I mean? Because I know how hard it is being 6 hours into a game, especially if you're ranking up too. I know how hard it is, especially if you're diamond or master, dude. I get it. I know how frustrating that is. You know what I mean? Almost cussed right there, but what I'm saying is, if you notice someone has a little bit leaning towards that side a little more, then you have to kind of pull yourself back. You know what I mean? Maybe you have friends that are like comfortable with your personality and they're like okay with like you know, cussing at them when you tell them something or getting frustrated or saying it in an angry tone of voice, you know. But if you're solo queuing because maybe you don't have friends that day, or maybe you don't have people that are on, or they don't want to play what you're playing, then you kind of have to adapt yourself. You know what I mean? You kind of have to adjust to the situation, right? So that's the other side of it, right? That's for the guys that, you know, are, you know, feel like they're called toxic more. And like, that's not for the guys that are like on that, you know, sensitive side, easily annoyed side. Cause I don't want to say, cause I know people get mad when people say sensitive, right? I get that. But like I'm saying, you know, those are kind of things, you know, if you're sensitive, you can mute them. So that way you could talk to the guys that are like, you know, making you mad or frustrated or annoyed or hurting your feelings. You know, that way you can get that communication in. Because communication is vital. But also, one second. Sorry, excuse me. Also, though, you got to kind of understand why people would get frustrated too if you go into a game with your mic on but muted. Because, like I said, that is a key aspect to the game. Communication is a key aspect to winning the game, especially once you get into those high ranks like Diamond, anything past Diamond or Master or Predator, ranked Arena or ranked BR. Once you're getting in those games, even if you're in pubs and you have like a 3.0 KD, you know, communication, neglecting an aspect of the game is very bad. It's like neglecting movement or neglecting aim. If you neglect your movement or aim, you're going to be at a severe disadvantage. That's why three stacking, where people play with their friends, that's why people get so mad at those guys, because they seem like they're, you know, it's an advantage. And it is, because you're playing with people that are all talking together, all communicating, telling each other, oh, what they see, what they're doing. And then that adds to people's game sense. That makes the game easier to play and easier to win. Because if you're shooting at Octane right here and your friend sees Wraith to your right, what that does is that gives you a piece of information that you otherwise wouldn't have had and that you wouldn't have been able to use, you know? Let's say you didn't have a teammate that did that, or you had someone that had their mic in, but it was muted. You know what would happen if they didn't ping it? And even then, if they ping it, that doesn't tell you that much. You know what happens is you're focused on Octane, you're shooting Octane, Wraith comes up to the side, she's shooting at you, and then you hear a ping a little bit later, you're dead. You know what I mean? You're getting 2v1'd. You're dead. Like that's just it. But if you have people that are willing to use their mics, you know, even if your friends aren't, and you tell them that, you know, that gives them that much more information to go on. That gives you that much more of an advantage to win the game, right? So now that I said kind of why it's important to have communication in the game, I've provided some examples on how it can help you. I feel like the social media aspect of it, like Reddit, like YouTube, like Twitter, like that stuff, I feel like falling into other people's mentalities or believing in their opinions because maybe they're popular or maybe that's the current trend or agenda being pushed then, like, oh, I don't talk to randoms because they're toxic, or I don't talk to PlayStation players because they're toxic, or I don't, you know, you get what I'm saying? I don't talk to Xbox players because they're toxic, or I've even heard I don't talk to high skill players because they all have egos. Like they have a 20 bomb, they have a 4K, they think they're better than me. Like I'm not going to talk to them. Like what that does is that puts you at a disadvantage, right? Or like, oh, all predators boost. If you're season 3 predator, I'm not talking to you because you boosted or you dashboarded. Like falling into those mentalities or those opinions that like either a group of people have or maybe one popular individual in the scene or on social media has. It doesn't even have to be Apex. It could be other games too, and it could transfer over. Keeping those opinions and like falling into that and actually doing it, that puts you and your teammate at such a disadvantage. And one of the reasons why I say that is when you're not talking to people because you don't like PlayStation players, and then that PlayStation player gets mad at you because you're not using your mic, like I said earlier, that's going to reaffirm your mentality of, oh, they're all toxic. When really you're kind of the one at fault, because you're in your mind, you think you're not at fault because you're like, oh, all of them are toxic. I've seen proof of it. Like, I've seen evidence of it. So I'm not going to do it. And then they get mad at you for not talking with them, right? Because that's neglecting a key aspect of the game. And that reinforces in your mind, okay, yeah, they're toxic. I'm not going to play with them more. And then that creates this problem in the game, in the community, and how people play the game, because then you're doing it more. You know what I mean? And then not only are you unfairly attacking a group of people, right, that choose to play the game on a different console, or PC, that choose to use a different input device, not only are you attacking them, but you're also discouraging them from wanting to play. You're making them feel left out. So trying to do something that you feel, my bad, I heard something, but trying to do something that you feel is right without like evaluating what the effects it would have, what the consequences are that it could have, or how it affects other people, that's not only damaging the whole community with, your Xbox players, if you're against PlayStation players, but that's also damaging them. And not only is it damaging them, how their game is played, but it's also damaging how your game's played. And then some people take that as proof, further evidence that, oh, this and that and the other, they're all bad, they all suck. Well, maybe if you would talk or communicate or not be, prejudice against, a certain group of people that play a certain console, right? Excuse me. Then, I don't know. Kind of lost where I was going, but you kind of could get what I'm saying, right? It hurts the game. It not only hurts your match, but it hurts the game, and then it reinforces that bad behavior. And it not even a bad behavior like, oh, you're being a certain way, but like it reinforces. How can I say this? It reinforces a style of play that puts everyone at a disadvantage. If that makes sense. I'm pretty sure that makes sense. You guys can kind of get what I'm saying. I'm sorry, my cat's crying in the background. But yeah, that's what I think the danger is, because I go on Reddit, I'm a Redditor, whatever, right? But I go on Reddit, I interact with people, through the game. I see the posts, I see what people say. I see how people say, oh, you now to go on a different aspect, let's say you cuss, right? Or let's say you say things in a harsh way, right? That people take that as being toxic. You know what I mean? And then you're already kind of put under this label. And then because you're not conducting yourself in a way that a group has deemed acceptable, because you cuss or you say bad words, then people already are kind of like leaning towards that side, right? I'm sorry, that cat keeps crying. It makes me lose my focus. My bad, guys. I'll be right back. What's up, bud? What's up? Can you kind of take him right now? I'm trying to do something.
I am.
I know.
Open the door.
I know. Oh, bud. Go inside. Thanks. All right. So yeah, I feel like that's the dangers of like, going on those social media and like, I think what I was trying to get at is that, people portray their one side of a match, right? And usually, because given the current climate, right, of, if you tell people what they did wrong, you're critical, you're toxic. And then if you cuss while you do it, you're like irredeemable. You're even worse. You're even more toxic. You're cancer. You're to be avoided. You deserve people to leave the match on you. You deserve people to throw, on you. And what's funny is people will go on social media and then they'll portray their one side of the story, and then they usually play to that. They play to that, oh, I did nothing wrong. And this person, this PlayStation player, this diamond player, this master player who thinks he's so good at the game, he was toxic and this and that. And then they usually have like a screenshot, either a literal screenshot in game or a literal clip of them talking like that. And then that further reaffirms that group mentality of, oh, either we don't talk to people like that or we don't talk at all. Or this is the funny one I've been saying. If people are nice and I hear that they're nice in the game, then I'll talk to them. And it's like, that's literally like the same as going, oh, if people like talk nicely to me, then I'll use good movement, or then I'll use good aim. Or if they ping ammo for me when I want it, then I'll fucking see, I just cussed. I'm sorry, guys. But then I'll play better, basically. You know what I mean? Like, if people act how I want them to act and express themselves how I want them to express themselves, according to what a community has outlined as acceptable, then I will play better and I will give them the opportunity to have a good game where I'm playing at my full capacity. And I think that's so dumb, dude. I think that's such a backwards mentality, and that's such a self-defeating mentality. That's a regressive mentality, because you're not progressing in the game. You're regressing backwards, right? Because you're playing worse, right? Because communication is one of those key aspects, like I said, to winning a game, right? With the example of like, oh, you're shooting someone and your friend calls out where someone on the side of you is going to shoot. That's a key aspect of the game. Communication is. And withholding that and then saying you're justified in doing that, or you know what I mean? Like it's so funny, because not only are you giving them a reason to get mad at you, and then it's kind of true, but you also are like giving yourself a reason to keep conducting yourself that way, and then you use that as ammo or your defense against the people getting mad at you. And it's just like, it's like a circle, you know what I mean? Oh, I don't play right, people get mad at me, it further reinforces me not wanting to play right. And then I go and do another game, I don't play right because someone got mad at me, they get mad at me again. You know what I mean? It's like a circle, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't help you, doesn't help them. You might get some brownie points with some people on the internet that are like pissed off, about the same thing. But what does that do? You end up ruining your time spent in game. You end up ruining your precious minutes on Earth playing suboptimally on a hobby or my bad. Got a little bit of a burp kind of thing. I just ate, like I said, so my bad, guys. I know that's kind of disgusting, but you're playing suboptimally in something that you choose to spend your limited amount of time on Earth, and then you're doing it at like a lower level than you could be, either because you've adopted this mentality or to get brownie points on the internet. And it's just like, dude, like, why would you do that? Not only is you ruining your own time, you're ruining other people's time. You're lowering the quality of the game. You're lowering the community as a whole. You're lowering you're worsening your experience. That's the part that gets me the most, is you're ruining your own time. And my time's precious to me, right? My time's precious to me. And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it the best I can, right? I know a lot of people are not like that. They're like, dude, I don't care. I have a job. I play this game 2 hours a day. I just want to come on and chill, whatever. I get that. But even then, I worked the job, I went to college and played this game still. I did that. I did other things too and had this game on the side, but I still never understood that mentality of knowing you can do better and it being so easy, not even something you have to put a lot of effort into doing and still not doing it. That's a whole nother topic, you know what I mean? But I still never understood that either. I never understood that either. But I guess what I'm trying to get at here, because it's already been 30 minutes, it's kind of getting long, right? Kind of going on a rant a little bit, right? But I guess what I'm trying to get at is don't let popular people's opinions, don't let a group of people's opinions, don't let social media's opinion, uh, don't let that be the outline and the guideline for how you're supposed to play. You know what I mean? Especially if it's a negative one like that, that's only going to hurt everyone. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt the three stacking team that doesn't care if one guy cusses. They're going to clear the lobby. They're going to win. They don't care. They don't care. They know, cuz they know that the game is frustrating. They get that people have bad moments, that people get mad, or people say things they don't agree with, or people um you know disagree. They understand that. They get over that like that. They're not going on Reddit typing posts out. They're not their day isn't ruined by that. They don't hop off and not play and then, aren't doing the thing they want to be doing. They don't let that stop them, you know. And that's how they progress, that's how they get better. That's how they keep, that's how their skills get better. That's how their skills get sharpened, because they don't run away from those situations where someone says something they don't like or agree with and then they throw the game or they play at a suboptimal level. No, they adapt to it. They go, oh, okay, he's being this way, and then in their mind, this is another thing. They go, okay, well, was that advice right? Was his call right? Was what he said to me correct? And then if it was, they have to have that kind of, that skill to go, okay, they said it in a mean way, but it was right. So I kind of have to adapt to that. Or maybe what they said wasn't right, but they just got mad and they're like, okay, well, he's just pissed off. He got mad. I'm not going to say something to make him further mad, or I'm going to say it in a nice way, or maybe when he calms down, I'll call it out. You know what I mean? Like something like that, right? So it's, that's a whole nother thing though, is like going, okay, well, is what this person's saying right or wrong? Is this something that I can even change? Is this something that even applies to me? Excuse me. That's something else entirely. But to be shut off and to shut down and to be like adverse to the whole experience and never even put yourself out there to where like you can experience that and then sharpen your own skills and like sharpen your judgment and sharpen because what that requires to dismiss people's calls and to dismiss whether what they say is right or wrong, what that requires is a good judgment of your own character and a good judgment of how you play. Because if you have God aim and someone calls you out and says you don't, you can dismiss that. You know what I mean? Because either yourself or you've had people tell you, you know what I mean? And you're able to go, okay, is that useful or not? You know what I mean? But if you're totally shut off from that side from the feedback side, you know what I mean? Maybe you didn't. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is it shuts you off from a whole aspect of it. It stops you from progressing. It stops you from going into that third person and going, okay, well, did I really do this wrong? Is that really true? Were they just mad? You know what I mean? I don't know. I just see this trend going around a lot right now. That was good. I just see this trend going around a lot right now where people just completely shut themselves off from that side, and they just totally shut down. They go, nope, you're toxic. Nope, your evidence is wrong. Your opinion on what happened in the situation is wrong, and I'm automatically going to dismiss it. Or maybe they don't dismiss it. You know what I mean? But I just, I don't know. I feel like that's like a self defeating circle, like I explained earlier. I just don't. Yeah, I just don't agree with that kind of stuff. You know, I don't see it that way, and I also don't like how like I like how people say, "Oh, I don't like toxic people," this and that, and like they think they're being like good people, right? They think they're being like a good person, yet they're clearly lacking any empathy or humanity. You know what I mean? Because they're not going, "Oh, okay, maybe that guy had a bad day." No, they're going on Reddit or they're telling that person directly, "Oh, you're bad, and this is why." And they have this like this popular mentality, this community mentality, this group mentality of people all thinking the same way, and then other people will jump in on that, and that's unfair to someone. You know what I mean? Just because someone gets mad or frustrated, that doesn't make them subhuman, and that doesn't make you a good person for either calling them out on it or not acting that way. You know what I mean? And to think you're a good person because you don't say that, or you don't get mad, or when you get mad isn't highlighted, and then to get mad at other people or to say they're a bad person or this or that, that's not true. Because you're doing something negative right then and there. You're just doing a socially accepted negativity. Or within that group. You're being negative in a way or mean to someone else in a way that's accepted because you're not cussing or you're not being toxic. And I think that's just BS, bro. I think that's BS. I think that's lame. I think it's kind of pathetic too, honestly. But that's kind of a mean opinion to have, right? I just don't. I don't agree with that, dude. I think that's toxic in itself to how, be one sided and show this example and then and to word it a certain way to where people group up and agree with you and get mad at that person. Because maybe they do see that post on Reddit. Or maybe, your friend jumps in or the third jumps in, and they didn't really hear anything and they're like automatically mad at them. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make you a good person. And and in a funny way, you're doing the same thing as if someone said, like, if someone saw you do something and they got mad at you and they started cussing at you or insulting you to make you feel bad. You're doing the same thing by outlining their bad behavior and making them feel bad. Just because you're not insulting them or you're not cussing at them doesn't mean you're not hurting them, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. That doesn't make you a good person. That might make you in that not weird, in that, because that's, weird. I feel like it's weird. In that group of people, that might make you right to them. But then again, what's right and wrong? Like when I open this video, what's right and wrong? That's just your opinion. You know what I mean? There's no right and wrong opinion. There's just an opinion. That's all it is. It's just an opinion. You know what I mean? But hurting someone, that's, you could say that's my opinion, but go around hurting people and see how many people like you or think you're a good guy. You know what I mean? Maybe you'll find that group of people that go, oh, yeah, and he was doing that, so you did that. Maybe you will. That's the sad thing is that's what's popular right now. That's what's popular right now. And if you have a differing opinion, then you're in the wrong, and you might as well be like they see you as that toxic person, they see you as that they see you as that mean, evil person just by saying, "Oh, I don't believe that," or "I don't think that's true." And I think there's a lot of, I think it's a hypocritical mentality. I think there's a lot of dangers associated to that mentality, especially when you go, "Oh, don't be toxic because some people are suicidal." Yet you go and post about people, and then you all talk about how bad they are, or how socially inept, or how like dumb they are for saying that, or how toxic. Words hurt people. Just because you're not saying the what the group defined as evil, mean words, doesn't mean the way you're saying something can't hurt people, especially when you're publicly shaming them online. And to think you're morally right or good for doing that, you're gone, dude. In my opinion, I feel like you're just out of it. You know what I mean? Like you're not understanding how much of an impact your actions can have on people. That's how I feel, at least. Like different things hurt different people, dude. Maybe you say the F word to someone and that hurts them and that makes them, or maybe it doesn't. Or maybe you publicly shame someone, but it's considered okay to do that, but that still hurts them. That can still, cause them damage. And then you're just as bad as the guys you're saying are toxic, in my opinion. You're just as bad as them then. Like what's the difference? Because you didn't say a word? Because you didn't say a select group of words or in a certain order? That's bullshit, bro. That's not true. That's not real. To me, that's not, at least. Different things hurt different people. And to do something that's socially accepted and think you're right for it, that's not cool, bro. That's not. I mean, you can lie to yourself. I think you're lying to yourself. I think that's, stupid. I think it's, hypocritical, but, you know, it's not the popular opinion, right? But, yeah. That's just my opinion. That's just, coming from a guy that plays Apex a lot, you know, coming from someone that plays Apex a lot, having that mentality, doing those actions, I see just negative consequences coming from it. I see it further dividing, communities of PlayStation players, Xbox players, PC players. I see it dividing them more. I see it causing unnecessary conflict, lowering people's quality of the game. All I see is just negative consequences coming from acting like that, like posting like that, and then, you know, going in game and conducting yourself that way, whether it's not talking or whether it's calling people out for being toxic or what you think is toxic, you know, is equally as toxic if done in that way that I described. Now just to clarify though, if someone's if someone's totally just trying to hurt someone with words and then you call that out as toxic, I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's wrong. You know, I think how you do it could be wrong if yourself, start shaming them and making them feel bad. Yeah, I think you might be a bad guy. You might just be a nice bad guy, but you're still a bad guy, right? But going like, hey, bro, chill out, don't do that, or like, that's not how you should be. That's not how you should tell people, or you need to chill out a little bit. I think you're getting mad, or, I don't, something like that. I think that's fine. But to start shake, because what are they doing when they're getting mad at someone that didn't do something they want? They're shaming them for acting a certain way. And then if you go and shame them for acting a certain way, but you just do it differently or say it a different way, what's the difference? There's no difference to that. In my opinion, there's a difference. Yeah, you're saying it a different way. Yeah, that's the difference, but you're still being mean and you're still hurting someone. Maybe you're hurting someone that's hurting someone, but you're still hurting someone, if that makes sense. You know, I don't know, guys. But yeah, I feel like that's the rank tip for the day. Um, Be open to talking to people. Try to adapt to it. It's only going to help yourself. Don't push yourself beyond your limits. If you're too tired to do it, don't do it. If you're over it, maybe take a break from the game, and then when you're ready to come back and play, ranked or even a high level pubs or whatever, come back and do it. You know what I mean? But don't try not to neglect communication, because it is so vital to the game. You know what I mean? I'm trying to tie it into the theme of the channel here now. Don't neglect communication, because it lowers the quality of the game, lowers the quality of your experience, lowers their experience, lowers the chance of you to win, which is what I feel like the ultimate goal is, right? Is to be good and to win, right? To be the best player you can be, the best person you can be, right? I feel like that's the goal, right? That's why, someone would even want to look at these videos or follow this channel, is because, they want tips on how to get better. So try to just find your own way to adapt to it. Your own way. Don't try to follow a group mentality or anything like that. You guys already heard it. I already said it a bunch of times, but yeah. I guess that's the ranked rant tip. All right. Hope you guys have a good day. And take it easy on yourselves, take it easy on other people, and yeah. See you guys later.